Hello, welcome back. And today in this video, we're going to discuss about our chemical test for negative ions. In IGCSE chemistry, the negative ions that you need to be concerned is about carbonate ions, sulphate ion, and the three halide ions, which are chloride, bromide, and iodide. Now, how do we test if we have carbonate ions? Okay, so it is similar to what we have learned before. Let me draw an example here. If you have a zinc carbonate, but you don't know whether this is zinc carbonate or not, what you would do is add dilute hydrochloric acid to your salt solution, which is also to remove your any impurities. Now this could be HCl or HNO3, any acid. You're going to produce your salt, which is zinc chloride, and water and carbon dioxide, which is a gas. Now, what we're going to do is pass this gas through the calcium hydroxide solution, and if our solution turns milky or cloudy and forms a white precipitate, we know that we produce carbon dioxide gas, which means that we have our carbonate ions. Now the test for sulfate ions is, first we would add dilute hydrochloric acid to your salt solution. For example, you have sodium sulfate Na2SO4. In the first stage, we are going to add hydrochloric acid into our salt solution is to remove any impurities. Now afterwards, we're going to add barium chloride to our solution. So if we add barium chloride to sodium sulfate, we are going to form barium sulfate and sodium chloride. And barium sulfate is insoluble in water and it will form a white precipitate, which will look like this. So for both carbonate ions, CO3 2- and SO4 2-, the common thing that the both tests have is adding dilute hydrochloric acid as your very first step. This is very important because adding the dilute hydrochloric acid allows us to remove any impurities. If we don't remove any impurities, we will have inaccurate color precipitates. Okay, meaning that if we have a white precipitate, it could be any carbonate instead of barium sulfate. That's why you need to know why we add dilute hydrochloric acid to our salt solution in the first step. For testing chloride, bromide, and iodide negative ions, what you would do is first, instead of HCl, we are going to add dilute nitric acid to our salt solution to remove any impurities. Reason why we are not using HCl in this case is because we might be testing for Cl-, and if we use HCl, there will not be a reaction. Alright, so let's try this way. If we have, let's say, NaX. Now X is our unknown halide, which could be chloride, bromide, or iodide. What we will do is first add dilute nitric acid to our salt solution, which is sodium halide, to remove any impurities. Afterward, we will add in silver nitrate to our salt solution, and we are going to produce silver halide plus sodium nitrate. Sodium nitrate will be aqueous and silver halide will be a solid. So based on the color of this silver halide, we know that which ion do we have. If we have white precipitate, we know that we have silver chloride. If we have a creamy precipitate, we know that we have a silver bromide. If we have a yellow precipitate, we know that we have a silver iodide. Now similarly, it could be like this. they're going to give us a reaction between, let's say, sodium bromide and silver nitrate. So our product would be silver bromide, and they can ask you the color of the precipitate as well. So you should know that if it is silver bromide, we are going to have a creamy precipitate. Now, in the test for chloride, bromide, and iodide negative ions, the most important thing is to first add your dilute nitric acid to remove any impurities, because if you don't remove your impurities, the colors that you get here will be inaccurate. And afterwards, you need to add in your silver nitrate, okay, which is very important. You only add silver nitrate to your suspected halides, okay. So if you remember to add dilute nitric acid and then adding silver nitrate, you can test for chloride, bromide, and iodide ions. So that is all for the chemical test for negative ions. And in the next video let's do example practice questions on all the chemical tests.